Hello, Tennessee. Welcome once again to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy. They are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners, financial advisors right here in Tennessee. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. This is an incredible program. I don't want to tip it off to the audience, so I will just say, as I always do, what's on your guys' minds this week?
Oh, there's a lot on our minds this week, but at the top of the list is women in finance. This is a topic that I'm in particular really excited to talk about today.
We would think so.
Yes, because sometimes women can be maybe overlooked or underestimated when it comes to finances, and I think that women bring a real strength to finance, and that's what I want to focus on today.
And I'm going to encourage the men out there. This doesn't mean tune-out time, right? There's a lot of relevant information that we need to get to both individuals in this segment. So let me say this. If you have a wife, if you have a mother, all of us do, if you have a daughter, a friend, this is very relevant. We need to make sure that we're talking about women in finance, and there's really a lot of reasoning for that, but it's an important topic for us to hit today. It's really near to us.
Yeah, and when we talk so often or hear so often about financial matters specifically with women, there are a lot of negative connotations that come with that. How we make less than our male counterparts, how we have less working years, fewer working years than our male counterparts because of child rearing or caring for aging parents. And all of those are valid. All of those are real, and we're actually going to discuss some of those today. But before we jump into some of those obstacles that we need to overcome, I want to acknowledge that there is a strength that we as women can bring to finance that is uniquely women, that is uniquely us, and that we cannot be counted out because of that. So there's a strength that we bring when we talk about how, think about your life, speaking directly to you as women. Think about what you juggle on a day-to-day basis. You manage your home, your kids, when you had young kids, or now if you have grown kids, what that looks like, especially in those years when your kids are little. You're juggling that, you're getting the food ready, you're working your career and building your career and thriving in that area. All of these things you're doing at once, helping a kid with homework while doing the dishes and cooking dinner. And it's just like all the time juggling.
Jay helps every now and then, though, right? A little bit.
Well, every now and then.
We all have our roles in the household. Our roles are very clear, and each family to handle that on their own.
Differently. Yeah.
But my point is, we are multitaskers. So often that's just what we do. And the truth is, when it comes to finance, it's not unilateral. It's not just one topic. There are so many facets of financial planning that you have to consider. And we're already naturally multitaskers within our homes, within our jobs, our careers, juggling all of that, giving all we've got to so many different areas of life that we can naturally take on the challenge of this as well. And you are equipped, women, you are equipped to excel and exceed in this area. Whether you think you are or not, you are. You've got some ability and some capability within you to be able to engage in this. And we want to make you aware of some of these things, because if you're not having these conversations, we want you to be.
Amen, and I couldn't agree more. Absolutely, to all of the women who, the multitasking, taking care of us, but there is something I want to roll over back to. And you're talking about how, so unfortunately, just the statistics, as they say in the United States, women tend to make less, just by percentage. Hope that gap is closing. The other thing is women take more time out of their own working careers to go take care of both the children and elderly parents. So there's another area where they're not saving into those retirement accounts at work. And here's the hardest part: making less and not working in the hard work years of supposedly making a salary. But then who lives longer?
Yeah,
women.
That's the bottom line. We do. We are going to outlive our male counterparts. We just are.
Speaking,
and if we are not prepared for that, we are going to find ourselves in some difficult scenarios. I just walked a lady through this recently. She just lost her husband, and I'm walking her through how to navigate her financial situation because of that. She's a client, so when this happened, immediately she just came to us, and we're walking with her through it. And what I want to speak to specifically right now, those of you who maybe are married and one or the other spouse handles the finances, That's totally fine. You both don't have to do everything, but at the very least, whether it's the man or the woman, I'll say that here, whoever handles the finances, the other should be at the very least informed, fully informed. Because here's the thing, this client who came to me sat down, we're talking about their situation and how to move forward from here when it comes to their finances and life and situation. I can help with the investments. I can help with the comprehensive financial planning. I can help with the tax strategy. We can help with all of that. What we can't help with is, how do I pay the light bill? How do I pay the mortgage? How do I pay the grandkids' contribution? How do I add to that account we add to every month? Those types of things that only you know, because you work with the utility company. You know, you work to pay the cable bill, whatever it is, the YouTube, you know.
And you're not talking about amounts. You're like the actual physical, how do I pay the bill?
What
how
website do I go to make the funds transfer, to make my mortgage payment? I'm talking like basic stuff that a lot of families, because one spouse handles them, the other doesn't know. And then unexpectedly something happens, and that individual who is left behind is left with all the emotions and the grieving and the trauma of that loss, the tragedy of the loss, but also the financial struggle as well. How do I pay the mortgage payment? Let me tell you, that is the last thing you're going to want to be thinking about in that moment. So what I like to tell people is put together a binder. Put together some kind of location where you have all of this information put together for your spouse, and that goes for man or woman, whoever handles the maybe I handle the finances, and I need to put information packet together for my husband.
That's exactly where I was going to land, is because I meet with a lot of clients that the women take control of the household finances already, and so the men need to be involved in this and understanding. If you are a couple, if you're a married couple, you need to understand how your finances are functioning. But I will say, statistically speaking, women are going to outlive men. Actually, I was reading a report not too long ago that said 95% of women will be the household decision maker when it comes to finances at some point in their life. So whether you are now or whether that's coming, you're going to be that primary decision maker at some point in your life. So you need to know these things, put together a simple binder, or sit down and have discussions on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis or whatever it may be, so that you're both comfortable and confident if something were to happen to either one of you, that you can continue your financial journey and planning without the stress and pain of not knowing how to pay the light bill.
And we had that conversation. We love working directly with couples. We worked with a couple just recently, a few weeks ago, and they were in this scenario where he handled all the finances, and man, even during the appointment, she's checked out. She's like, I don't like this. I don't understand this. I don't want this. But inviting her into the process was wisdom. Having her there, inviting her into the process so she understood what was happening. And she, again, at the very minimum, conveying to her, just be informed. It's okay. You don't have to make the portfolio allocation decisions and all of that if you don't want to. At the very minimum, be informed. Know how to access your accounts. If something happens to your spouse and you need to get into your IRAs, or you need to get into your joint account, you need to get in some kind of investment account, that you know how to access those funds in the time you would need them.
And sometimes, quite frankly, the man isn't generally making those allocation decisions either.
That's right.
That's what you're doing as financial advisors.
Right.
That's it.
You just want them involved in the process,
Absolutely.
knowing what's going on.
Be informed.
And you also might be going into retirement, single or widowed, or
That's
so
right.
we've got so many different topics we've got to talk about.
Yeah.
There's no way during Women in Finance I'm going to take our going out to commercial. So Brittany, why don't you talk to everybody on the way out here?
Yeah, and that's what we want to offer, is this complimentary consultation. If you are woman or man out there and you want to ensure that you have a comprehensive financial plan in place, we want to offer that complimentary consultation just to you, to have your questions answered, to see where there may be some holes in your plan, so that we can ensure you get to where you want to be, especially for those women who are a little unsure. Maybe I don't know where to begin or where to start, or who can I trust, or I don't know who to go to. Well, I'll tell you, I'm here for you. I will walk you through the process, and you don't have to go it alone. 866-691-7317. Give us a call today.
More of the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy when we get back right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy. They're the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners. Today we are talking about women and retirement and finance. Please do not change the channel. If you've got a mother, a wife, spouse, sister, niece,
neighbor,
aunt, neighbor, we all have, all of this is relevant. And I think one of the big things, one of those statistics you said is that 95% of women at some point in their lives will be in charge of all of their financial, whether their spouse passed away or whether they're on their own. So at some point, you're going to be making these financial decisions, whether you want to or not. But what are some of the other numbers that you see?
Yeah, I'll give a couple more facts here real quick. On average, women live longer than men by 5 years. That's statistically proven. And right now, women actually control around $10 trillion in U.S. finances, right? But by 2030, that figure is looking to rise to $30 trillion, so tripling in the next few years. So women need to embrace their role as I need to understand how to make financial decisions with my maybe spouse right now, but also if my spouse was not here, to embrace that I am going to be making the decision at some point in my life, and I need to be comfortable with that.
And so much of a importance about that is having the right person on your team.
Yeah.
Having somebody with you to help coach you through, because like we talk about all the time, you don't have to go it alone. You don't have to know all the answers and figure it all out on your own. You don't. You just have to have the right person on the team with you. And so much of what we love to do is educate, give you that information, give you that knowledge, just like he was talking about those statistics right there, that information that really impacts how you view your scenario, knowing, man, if I don't have to control my finances now, 95% chance there is one day I will have to.
Right.
So you'd rather be informed and know how to do that when that time comes than to be flumbering through trying to figure out how to manage all of that. And what I want to emphasize today is that this knowledge that we want to offer, all of this is so important. The knowledge and the information, the education is important. But what really matters is when you put that knowledge together with some real action and you implement that within your life. If you're listening today and you hear all of this and you're like, man, yeah, I really should do that. That'd be good to do someday. But there's no real action behind it to really implement, man, I really do need to be informed. I really do need to understand what's going on with my finances.
Yeah.
That's when the knowledge almost is worthless. If you don't put some action with the knowledge, it can become powerless instead of powerful. So put those two together and it makes a massive difference.
And I know you really do encourage couples to come in, obviously, together. I don't think you'll even put together a plan if the spouses don't come in together. This is again one of those curveballs you don't know is coming. What about, have you successfully seen couples who keep everything separate? I mean, does that create for a healthy marriage? Now I'm turning you into marriage counselor.
Yeah, right. I do think that's more difficult. You know,
I've
seen it, and I've seen it work for couples, and there are certain segments of their finances that they can keep separated, and it work for couples. But 98% of the time, 100% of the time, when one of those pass away first, the other spouse is going to inherit those funds all the time. So they need to know how they're positioned and how they're functioning. So we tend to encourage couples to understand, even if they're going to separate checking accounts, to understand how each person's checking account is functioning. I think that's where we're uniquely poised, whether you're man or woman and you are controlling your finances right now, that's your role in the household. Include your spouse, bring them into a conversation, and bring them into a conversation with us to where we can have a real review of what's going on so that nobody's left in the dark. That's what we're trying to avoid. But I would say that I've seen it work in unique situations, but typically we try to encourage knowledge in action to become power.
Well, and we're proponents of doing life together. When you're sharing everything you share within a marriage, you can share a checking account, you can share a savings account, you can
That's
share
our philosophy.
You can share a financial plan. That is what we believe. But we understand there are some extenuating circumstances where maybe it's a second or third marriage or stepchildren and all of these scenarios that you want to handle it differently. We respect that and acknowledge that, and we'll help you devise a plan to still thrive and function wonderfully, beautifully within the parameters that you have. But I wanted to mention, this is something that I don't think a lot of women have thought about, when I heard this, I was shocked, is that the average age of widowhood is 59.
What?
59 years old. Does that not seem super low,
Wow,
super
that
young?
is.
59 years old is the average age of widowhood. And Jay will tell you, I am not a doom and gloom
That's right.
person. I am a half glass full, celebrate, find the best in any situation.
Optimist.
But there is something and some value to be discussing some of these things to ensure you are prepared. Because when you are prepared, you will not end up in a place where you're emotionally lost and struggling, and also financially lost and struggling. You want to at least have some stability. Again, Allon in our name, providing that stability, that the deep-rooted oak tree, that deep-rooted financial plan that can thrive as a couple, or if you're widowed or a widower, for you men as well. So it's for both, and you can experience that.
Right. Well, Brittany, I did specifically want to ask you, why do you think financial planning is different for women, or harder, or separate? I mean, we're saying as a couple that we want to plan together, but besides the longevity issue, why is the financial plan maybe different for a woman?
Yeah, something that we touched on a little bit earlier, but I think is really important to discuss, is the issue of women who are out of work because of childbearing and child rearing, as well as caregiving for aging parents. I've experienced all of those. I've experienced, childbearing, child rearing, and how that impacts my career. That definitely is a factor. And I've also experienced caring for aging grandparents. I haven't cared for aging parents. My parents are in exceptional health, both of our parents, thankfully. But we have experienced caring for aging grandparents and the impact that has on your entire life. So I've experienced both sides of that and seen the hurt and the pain and the struggle of, losing family members that are so important to you, and how that really does pull you away from income producing. And obviously the priority in our household, we determined, is our family, and that's what we were going to do. But the reality is there is a financial impact that occurs in those moments. We are, whether you're child rearing, child bearing, or, caring for aging parents or grandparents or, family members. Maybe you have a sibling or a child who needs extra help and attention. And so it takes away from what you're not just able to save for retirement, but what you're able to earn. Your earning power is reduced, which then again impacts what you take from Social Security when it comes time to file for that. So it really does have this domino. I was going to say a domino effect of where it's not just for the here and now, but what's happening here and now really does have a domino effect. It impacts what happens, in retirement.
And longevity, just in and of itself, you're going to live longer. You need more medical help. The longer we live, your medical expenses are going to be more. So planning for your retirement would probably look different than planning for my retirement, just being a woman, because on statistically you're going to be living longer. You need higher medical expenses.
And a lot of women come to me and they're just like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know what to ask. I don't know who to talk to. That is the beauty of what we do. You don't even have to bring questions. You may not even know what to ask. That is okay. We offer this complimentary consultation where you can come and sit down. I would love to sit down with you and speak with you about your situation and talk through some of these scenarios. We have questions. I have questions that I will ask you to get the conversation started so that we can learn more about your scenario. You can learn more about us. And it's no obligation. It's casual, it's comfortable, and it's all about you and getting you to where you want to be, setting you up for success. Give us a call today to take advantage of that complimentary consultation, 866-691-7317. You can also utilize the QR code you see on the screen there and schedule an appointment directly from our website there, straight on our calendar. We would love to have an opportunity to sit down with you and answer your questions. Just be a resource resource to help you navigate this financial journey.
More women and retirement answers when we get back right after this with Jay and Brittany Hagy of Allon Planning Partners.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every week we try to go through retirement planning solutions, and this is a very special program. I would say probably largely put together by Brittany.
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's, our Women in Finance and Retirement. And I'm very glad. If I could throw my own personal 2 cents in, is I had 2 grandmothers who lived well into their 90s. So this to me, we've experienced all of it as well.
Yeah.
First it was, we're so glad that they're retired, but even the emotional things of them missing my grandfathers for so long in their lives, the emotional toll that took on them, running out of their assets. And my grandfathers, they worked hard and they did receive pensions, but they passed away decades earlier.
And so did their pensions probably.
And so did their pensions. And then, of course, the ultimate, you lose a Social Security. And
That's
so we were
right.
just on
That's right.
less and less income. And then it was, are we going to sell the house? And they both needed to go into long, because they lived into their 90s, and it was wonderful.
And that's something that we talk a lot about too, are the what ifs. You know, planning, because there's so much we can't control. Market cycles, inflation, what's happening within our economy, the cycle. We can't control those things, but we can control how you're positioned. We can control those things to where you can be prepared. You can be prepared for those unexpecteds. Planning for the what ifs and what that might look like. Running different case studies and scenarios. What if my spouse passes away before me? What if I pass away before him? Where does that leave him? If I have a pension, what happens to my pension?
Right.
If he has a pension, what happens to his? You know, can we access each other's funds? What happens to, you know, do we have life insurance? And is that all of these things, the addressing the what ifs to ensure that one or the other is taken care of. I mean, if something were to happen to me, I would want to know that Jay was going to be okay, that our kids were going to be okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And so that's where it's important, not just for women to be listening in today, but for men, you hearing, we want you to be our biggest cheerleaders. We want you to be behind us. We know you're for us. I know Jay's for
Absolutely.
me. I know he's behind me. And I know that he wants me to be set up for success no matter what happens with him.
And that's where I say, men, invite them in. If you're the
Right.
one handling the finances, give an invitation. We've had plenty of couples come and sit down with us, and the guy's like, yeah, I want her help with this because I know she's probably going to be here and then utilize this money long after I'm gone. It's okay if you think you don't know a lot about finances right now. If you're the man or the woman in the relationship who is controlling those finances, come and have a conversation with us. Men, invite your spouses into that conversation.
And women, because we do, like he said earlier, we do meet with a lot of women who oversee their household finances. So if you are the woman that is in control or is overseeing, maybe that's part of your role, you're overseeing all of that, invite your spouse into that so that you can work through that together and so that he or she can be prepared
Bring strength
for
to each other.
whatever that, because there really is a strength in doing this together.
Yes.
That's why we love it, not just personally for us and getting to do this business together, this industry, our careers together, but we love seeing couples come together and operate as a team. That's what we're supposed to do, is function as a
So
team.
we kind of become marriage counselors too. along the way.
It happens.
Well, one of the
It
reasons
definitely
why
happens.
this program has been so important to all three of us, and hopefully to you, our viewers, as well. Another alarming statistic for me is that 38% of women end up giving up their sick days, their vacation days, time at work, or not even taking PTO, and sometimes
That's
being
right.
penalized for it at work, not taking promotions, all of this to be elder caregivers, not just for their elder parents, but sometimes for the spouse's elder parents,
That's
just
right.
because they're more comfortable in that caring role. It's just all of these knocks against the saving that women will have versus the longevity. It just seems to me, in my opinion, it's more important that a woman has a financial plan than a woman. I'm not saying either over a man, but I'm like, women have to do financial planning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes if the woman is the one caring for the spouse's parents, it may not be because they're more comfortable in that role. It may be because the spouse is the primary breadwinner, and the spouse cannot forego that role to take care of the parents, right? So there's a number of different scenarios that could unfold and play out here. But absolutely, women, we have to plan. We have to plan. We're living longer. We unfortunately have made less. We're pulled away from our work, and we've been able to save less because of that. So considering all of these factors, it is imperative. It is so important that we are looking ahead and planning. Nearly 60% of widows and divorcees regret not being involved more when it came to their financial planning. And I think that's huge. That speaks to the back end of it, regretting what they didn't do. But listen, if you're listening today, you may be on the front end of this. You can control what you do moving forward. You can't control what's happened. If you're in this position now and you find yourself wondering, what can I do? Why didn't I plan more sooner? That's okay. We can take from there and move forward. But if you're listening today and you are in the opposite scenario, today is the day to take the knowledge we're offering and put your action behind it, and let's make some changes moving forward to become fully informed, fully prepared in your finances. We want to ask you today, give us a call, 866-691-7317. You don't have to go it alone. You've got us on your side. I've got you women. I am for you. I'm with you. And I want to sit on the same side of the table as you to help you get to where you want to be, not just now, but also in retirement, to be most prepared for those years.
Right. So we've got the entire team. Thank you so much. I know that you put a lot of this together, but Jay as well. We want to do all of this planning together, and that's what the process is all about. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you've never done a complete financial plan, it's very simple. Call the phone number right here. We'll take a look at your investments, your taxes, your retirement planning strategies, Social Security, your health care choices, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, a couple together. We want to do it complimentary and complete for you. Call the phone number you see right here. Get started on it. Thank you for watching the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy. We'll be back again next week.